Thanks for tuning in to Red Belt Radio. The following episode is scheduled for one fall. I'm Jason, and this show is dedicated to World Wonder Ring Stardom. Today I'm covering Stardom's 2025 5-star Grand Prix lineup and tournament format announcements, which were presented at a Stardom press conference on July 5th. There will be plenty to cover regarding the 5-star GP in both July and August. So for now, we will start with a basic overview and first impressions. I will also address the latest news regarding Rina, who unfortunately suffered a concussion on July 4th and may not be able to participate in this year's 5-star. Please be advised in advance that we will be spending a decent chunk of time discussing what happened with Rina. If you find these transmissions valuable, please give this a like, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment to let me know what you think. Without any further delay, let's see our Stardom 5-star GP participants for 2025. For the second year in a row, the tournament will consist of 4 disparate blocks. The red side of the tournament has Red Stars A and Red Stars B. The blue side of the tournament has Blue Stars A and Blue Stars B. Competing in Blue Stars B, Saori, unaffiliated IWGP champion, Momo Watanabe of Hate, Hanako of EXV, New Blood Tag champion, Hina of God's Eye, Future of Stardom champion, Momo Kogo of Stars, Rana Yagami of God's Eye, Suzuki of Mi Vida Loca, and Konami of Hate. Competing in Red Stars B, Rina of Hate, Rion of EXV, Sayaka Kurara of Cosmic Angels, Azumi of Neo Genesis, New Japan Women's Strong Champion and Artist of Stardom Champion, Starlight Kid of Neo Genesis, Wonder of Stardom Champion and Artist of Stardom Champion, Natsupoi of Cosmic Angels, Tomoka Inaba of God's Eye, Queen of JTO Champion, and Natsuko Tora of Hate. Competing in Blue Stars A, the winner of a match between Yuria Hime and Akira Kurogane, Bozilla of Mi Vida Loca, Aya Sakura of Cosmic Angels, Sendai Girls Junior Champion, Miyu Amasaki of Neo Genesis, Artist of Stardom Champion, Saya Iida of Stars, Goddess of Stardom Champion, Saori Anou of Cosmic Angels, Ami Sore of God's Eye, and Ruaka of Hate. Lastly, competing in Red Stars A, B. Priestley, unaffiliated, Waka Tsukiyama of EXV, New Blood Tag Champion, Yuna Mizumori of Cosmic Angels, Hanan of Stars, Goddess of Stardom Champion, Saya Kamitani of Hate, World of Stardom Champion, Mei Sarah of Neo Genesis, High Speed Champion, Lady C of God's Eye, and Azusa Inaba of Hate. On the Stardom website, this lineup was referred to as a record-breaking 32 participants, which implies that this is possibly the largest 5-star GP lineup of all time. I will have to fact-check that to be sure, though. Before we get to the tournament formatting and scheduling, we must acknowledge the unfortunate events of the Ema Maishima vs. Rina match at New Blood 23 on July 4th, as this news could ultimately impact the 5-star itself. The match was stopped at 6 minutes and 30 seconds when Rina was sadly concussed and apparently knocked unconscious. Rina was admitted to the hospital. However, no concerning test results nor secondary symptoms were identified. Rina was released from the hospital and has since posted to her fans on social media. Rina has been nothing short of amazing throughout the majority of 2024 and 2025 and has shown signs of a true breakout star within this promotion. While the 5-star Grand Prix represents an opportunity for Rina's next breakthrough, Rina's tournament schedule as it currently stands is front-loaded, meaning she will be busiest during the opening weeks of the tournament, and this allows for little recovery time from her injury. With Rina being just 18 years old, there isn't much gained from forcing her to work the 5-star. lost ground can easily be made up next year or the next, and placing her at risk of even worse harm seems unnecessary. The worst case scenario is pulling Rina from the tournament and giving her block opponents one free win each. And in the grand scheme of things, that isn't catastrophic. I feel really bad for Rina, who has brought so much to Stardom this past year and a half, and I'm sure we all hope that she recovers effortlessly. I also feel quite bad for Ema Maishima, Rina's opponent, whose springboard splash type maneuver seems to have been the cause of Rina's concussion. This is a move that Ema has struggled to pull off in previous matches, and for her to manage to perform the move only for this to be the result must be quite difficult. Ema is a former Defense Forces recruit turned wrestler, so there's no doubt she is tough enough to be able to move forward from here. But it's important to remember that she is still finding her way, and the need to continue using this particular move is probably in question at this point. Returning to the 5-star, the tournament's 4-block system will see wrestlers fighting all of the other inhabitants of their block until each of the 4 blocks has been whittled down to its top 3 performers. Much like last year's Goddess of Stardom Tag League, the number 1 wrestler from each block will automatically advance to the tournament quarterfinals. But from here, we break the boundaries and some of the blocks will intermingle. At this point in the schedule, the number 2 wrestler from A block will face the number 3 wrestler from B block, and number 2 from B block will face the number 3 from A block. These fights will determine who else advances to the quarterfinals. I think. The 4-block setup is not universally liked, but I think it is quite strong. It allows for unique stories to develop and stand out from the general noise of the larger tournament. Last year, each of the 4 blocks had interesting specific stories taking place, and those stories would have been harder to track in a giant red field standing across from a giant blue field. This year will be no different. For instance, each of the blocks contains at least what I will call one or more size bullies. Blue B has Hanako. Blue A has Bozilla. Red B has Natsupoi. Red A has Lady C, and to a lesser extent B Priestley. We should also recognize that the winner of the last 2 GPs came from the red block side of their brackets. This makes me suspicious about this year's tournament winner possibly residing on the blue side. If that ends up being the case, my eyes are most firmly trained on Ami Sourei, Momo Watanabe, Saori Anou, and Suzu Suzuki, with Bozilla and Sareee as dark horses in the tournament. This is by no means an early prediction, because we still need to see what happens during the major July shows, like Sapporo Rendezvous on the 21st. We also need to be aware of the wrestlers who will not be participating in this year's 5-star. If you saw Red Belt Radio's 67th transmission, you will know that I am not surprised by the absence of FWC, Hazuki, and Koguma. Their status in the company right now is on shaky ground, and not even making it into the 5-star is not helping things. There is also the absence of Saki Kashima, and that is significant because now the tournament is missing a level of comedic potential, which is potential I hope will be tapped into by some other means. No Kashima and no Koguma might result in no comedy. As I mentioned before, there will be a lot of further coverage of this tournament, but for now, I do like the 4-block structure, and I think it allows for parallel storylines to be taking place, with a spotlight shining on each of these storylines. I hope Stardom will consider letting Rina recover from having been knocked out, as opposed to wrestling in the tournament on the very same month of the incident. I wonder about the blue side of the bracket being the home of our tournament winner, and if I have to pick right now, I think the Red Stars B block could once again be the tournament's group of death. What do you think about this year's 5-star Grand Prix lineup? Which wrestlers are you most surprised to see in the tournament, and which block are you currently most looking forward to? Please stay tuned for further coverage of the 2025 5-star Grand Prix. If you found this transmission valuable, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment to let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to Red Belt Radio.